This will begin our lectures on Section 2.1. The objectives for Section 2.1 are definitions of the expression and evaluating an expression, how to translate English into math expressions, evaluation of expressions, and knowing the two roles of a variable. The first thing that we need to talk about is what is an expression? Well, an expression is a collection of numbers, variables, operators, and grouping symbols. Operators are the addition and subtraction, multiplication, and division symbols that we're used to. Multiplication, by the way, exponents can also be considered multiplication, so those could be operators too. Grouping symbols are another thing that we see in an expression. Grouping symbols are things like parentheses or brackets or braces. Parentheses we're used to seeing, these are per set of parentheses. Brackets are the ones that are the square ones. They're the ones that look like this here, and then braces are the squirrely looking ones like that right there. Those are grouping symbols. Absolute values, which we haven't talked about, radical symbols, which we haven't talked about, and fraction bars, which we'll be seeing in the next section. Those are all grouping symbols. So what I'd like to do for a moment here is remind you about different ways of writing multiplication and division so that we're clear on all of the notations here. First of all, we could write it the good old-fashioned way with an X. The little bit more modern, more algebraic way of writing a dot to mean multiplication. Some of my notes you'll see an asterisk used rather than the dot because old versions of Word didn't offer a dot for me. So I used the closest thing I had, which was an asterisk. And then also we can put parentheses around both of the numbers or all the numbers that are being multiplied, or we could just use one or the other like you see here. You need to know vocabulary-wise that the numbers that are being multiplied together are called factors, and when you get an answer from a multiplication problem, that it's called a product. Also note that when we use a variables we could just write a number next to a variable to represent multiplication. Division can be represented in the following ways. The old way with the division symbol. So this says x divided by 6. This one with a fraction bar on a diagonal slant. This is easier for me to write in my notes, so you'll see it more often than this one over here with the fraction bar on the horizontal. So we see x divided by 6 or x divided by 6 here. And then long division, x divided by 6. Now some people have told me in the past that they have an easier time remembering how to translate from one of these to one of these by a kinesthetic means. So let me go over here and just show you that really quickly. So if we have x divided by 6, they've told me that what they'll do is they'll say x and then they'll say divided by and then the 6. And so kind of this kinesthetic wrap. Anyway, that's what some people have told me in the past that helped them out. Now, vocabulary-wise here, we have to know that the thing that is being broken into pieces is called our dividend. The thing that we're using to break into pieces, so how many groupings, that's the divisor. And the answer to a division problem is called a quotient. So we have x in every single one of these cases is our dividend, and 6 in every one of these cases is our divisor, and then the answer to that problem would be our dividend. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about evaluating an expression and translating. So we're going to learn to evaluate first, and that's going to be our topic, our first topic of our first real lecture. This is just kind of an introductory lecture. So evaluation is going to be finding a value for an algebraic expression based upon a value given. So values of expressions change. And then the next thing that we'll learn is we'll learn how to translate an English phrase into a mathematical expression or an algebraic expression. And then we can use evaluation on those as well. So that's how we're going to link all of the topics. But my first task is to show you how to evaluate algebraic expressions. So we'll be doing that in the next mini lecture.